see again. Well, that's really bad lighting. Hi everyone, it's Brittany here from Green Bee Flowers in Strathroy, Ontario. Today I'm going to take you and show you one of our farm plots. So these are our real farm plots. This is not our urban plot in our backyard. You'll be able to see some of what we are growing here. So this will be a complete tour of our Green Door Gardens plot. So behind me we have our dahlia field. So the bed here is about 35 feet by 75 feet. This year it is entirely planted with dahlias. We are working on a project here which is a first for us. We are starting a dahlia breeding patch. We're not necessarily hybridizing for any specific dahlia traits. What we're actually more interested in is just seeing if it will work here. This field here essentially behind us has a bunch of different types of informal decorative. We've got ball dahlias, we've got mini ball dahlias. They're basically designer dahlias that are really popular with flower farmers and florists that we are hoping to be able to crossbreed in this field behind us so that we can create some new varieties that will hopefully be able to kind of supplement some colors and maybe designs that we don't yet have on the market. So I will show you what this field looks like. So McKenna is here today. She is actually weeding rows because one of our goals this week is going to be to lay out straw pathways for mulch and actually the stakes so that as the dahlias grow, we will be able to support them. But you can see this is actually quite a large bed. Like it's quite a large bed that we have here. So there are about 550 dahlias planted in this bed, and then at the top we actually have one more row with about another 200 dahlias, or 2 rows with 200 dahlias planted in up there.
Hi, so basically this is our zinnia patch. Right now I'm pinching the tops of them just so they'll branch out into two like this one, and it'll create a fuller plant with more blooms at the top.
So behind me here you can see that we have this row of dahlias. Now the cool thing about this row is that these are actually all propagates, which means that we took these from the tubers. We actually cut them off of the tubers started that around March, April, allowed them to root just in regular potting soil with some vermiculite and some peat moss mixed together. We kept it nice and moist. That allowed these to root and turn into brand new plants. So this whole row here is going to be genetically identical to their parent tuber. And as the summer goes on, I will show you what these flowers are going to look like. The other thing to notice about this patch as well is we planted these dahlias a little closer together than we would normally plant dahlias. The reason is because I want these to get very tall. That will make the blooms and the stems a little taller on them, and it'll allow us to take the bottom of the dahlia, the leaves off of the bottom, to help deal with powdery mildew as well. So we like to make sure that our dahlias don't get a ton of diseases. Another way that we manage that is you can see that there is a drip irrigation line here between our two rows, and that will help deliver water right to the roots and the tubers. So we are back now at the home garden, for lack of better terminology. We're here in our dahlia patch at home. So as we continue to work through at Sarah's, the Green Door Garden location, we are actually going to be trellising and organizing our dahlia field similar to how we have it in the back. So in this section here you can see we have actually mulched the entire bed with straw. The goal is obviously to keep the small weeds down, which will help make the bigger weeds a little bit easier to kind of filter out, while creating ground cover so that moisture will stay in the soil a little bit better, which will make it better for the dahlias to grow. Now it's important to note the dahlias don't love super moist soil, so one of the reasons we went with straw over going with something like wood mulch is straw does allow a little bit more moisture to evaporate through it. Wooden mulch tends to be very moist underneath, and the thing with dahlia tubers is that you have to make sure that they are dry enough so that they do not rot. So for trellising in here, we've put in wooden stakes about every 3 to 4 plants, and used hay twine in order to create a netting around our dahlias, which will help to support them as they grow up. This method that we are using is from Christine Albright of Santa Cruz Dahlias. I really like the way she's been able to grow her dahlias very closely together. She is a dahlia breeder as well. Well, not really as well. She's kind of the OG dahlia breeder, and the rest of us are just kind of copying her. But what I like about her is that she's essentially created a way to give support to her dahlias without necessarily having to use like chicken wire or netting, which also promotes more airflow and will allow us to harvest those blooms as those dahlias get taller. So you can see right now these have been in the ground for about 3 weeks, and some of them are a really good size. Some of them are pretty little, but in all fairness, some of the propagates were only 4 to 5 inches tall when we put them into the ground, so they did need a little bit of a chance to kind of beef up. So here's a row of our dahlias, which are pretty well established, and you can see here that we've crisscrossed the netting between the dahlias, so as they start to grow they will be very well supported. It also, as they grow, we'll be able to trellis them about another foot up and then another foot after that. We'll still be able to get through in order to harvest the flowers. You can also see with some of them, we pinched these way back when, so they are starting to get fairly large stalks coming up on either side. This one back here is a really good example, and this one here is just starting its little baby branches. So. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us as we showed you a brief tour of our Green Door Gardens farm plot, as well as some of our dahlia care tips. As always, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them. Please like and subscribe to our channel. That would be awesome. I hope everybody has a great day. Bye. Sentence that didn't make any sense, but we're just gonna roll with it because McKenna likes the outtakes.